Hello, this video is about redesigning LifeQuest 2 as an educational game. A quick review, LifeQuest 2 has players of all ages. It was not intended to be an educational game, but it has great potential for learning life management skills and self-efficacy awareness, meaning knowing that you can accomplish things when you set goals and follow through with them. So, to make the game more educational, the gameplay can be improved. The mechanic of this game support two learning principles, guided discovery and fluency building. Guided discovery can help player understand the importance of key resources. Fluency building can be used to improve in-game time management and metacognitive skill of selecting tasks, focusing on tasks, and evaluating the challenges. One part of the game mechanic that allows fluency building is the design of the life quest. Each life quest is broken down into 3 sub-challenges. Each challenge are then broken into 3 tasks. This pattern offers variation of gameplay, completing small goals to achieve bigger goals. The redesign will focus on these 2 learning objectives. Raise awareness of how to live life more happily through metacognitive skill, such as focusing on current goal and evaluating progress toward that goal. And how to use time efficiently. It is broad and abstract because of the game mechanic. I don't want to change it too much. So for the first redesign, we're looking at something that's not being done too well in the current game. A few life quests have arbitrary value, such as a finance life quest, a challenge 2, where you have to have $10,000 in your bank account. Or for another challenge, you have to have 800 maximum time capacity. The game designer may have been trying to get the player to plan ahead by thinking of how much the activity that they want to do cost, but it's not very explicit. So sometimes the player takes on a passive role into receiving these information or just doing this without thinking why. The gameplay was redesigned to have a more meaningful goal by allowing the player to define it, within constraints of course. In that way, we have more personalized goals, which give the player the feeling of ownership of their goal and the opportunity to challenge themselves. This idea came up when I noticed a player take a passive role in the game following the predefined goals. Such passive goals make the game less challenging, so I thought it would be nice to let the player make change to some goal through defining some of these life quest challenges. Plus, it makes these challenges less arbitrary in some cases. Through this redesign, the player can feel more attached to the goals as well as the game and build their self-esteem of making goals for themselves. Moreover, we can get the player into the habit of making this goal through the fluency building process, and hopefully it will transfer out of the game. This is also an opportunity for formative assessment, seeing if the player's decision makes sense. In the second redesign, we're looking into one of the key resources of the game, the time resource. It may be the most important resource, but it doesn't receive enough attention and tutoring. The game core mechanic has a great informative narration. Building on that, this redesign, or more of an add-on feature, create another life quest. This redesign was largely based on the guided discovery learning principle. I started from that principle and I thought it would be good to make another tutoring session for the specific skill. The reasoning for this redesign is that the game provides a lot of flexibility in the way the player play the game, dynamic of the game. Thus, player may not get this strategy at all. They may play this 3, 4, 5 times until they actually get something similar to this. They may wandering around the game, exploring, focusing their attention on other resources, such as intelligence or happiness, without thinking of the cost of slow transportation. So with this redesign, the player may recognize the importance of times better. So the major conclusion or challenge of these 2 redesigns is the out-of-game transferred measure. How can the player use these skills outside of the game? It's difficult to monitor and assess the player after they play the game, but a possible measure could be, will they have more to-do list, and how would they work toward completing these to-do lists? Okay, for the assignment 2 part 2, this is the redesign for tab word. So when I first encountered the game played, I have a few questions, the motivational questions. Why should the child play this game? Are there any intrinsic motivation of the gameplay? If not, what are the extrinsic motivation of this gameplay? Is it the exciting sound, colorful image, or the sensory curiosity? All of these are taken into account of the player's age. To address the motivational questions, I came up with the first redesign. It is to create some goals. One possible goal is to find out how many words the player knows, or this could be the self-imposed goal the player put on themselves. And also, there could be multiple levels. So to create different levels, we can try to vary the difficulties. The first one could be asking a more simple question. Is the item a carrot? Limiting the choice to just yes or no instead of one item out of 4. Or we could even add in hints such as having matching word color with the item it describes. To justify the redesign, having a goal can help provide a challenge to the player, and having varied difficulties provide opportunity to scaffold the player when they get an answer wrong. And here is a short sample of how the game could be played.